What up? What up? Sitting here, got Angela Harris on deck, the founder and creator of Non-Negotiable, a dating app that's going to be floating its way through here. And what makes non-negotiable different? And I believe, and I've got Kirkland here, Kirkland here with me. I know Kirkland. Boy, I spoke that up. Kirkland, who is here with me, who is my genius, who is my muse. And I say that respectfully because I tell Kendal, as I tell other folks, that, I'm older and I'm tired. Just saying, I don't want to do all this stuff. I love his mind. I love his brain. He keeps me in the present. He's taking me through processes and getting me to understand what it takes today to be successful in the arena that I'm going down. But I was telling Kendal about Non-Negotiables, a dating app that I had come up with years ago. And its concept was and remains that what are your non-negotiables? And it helps you to date intentionally, right? So it helps you to date intentionally so that when you go out, you don't date a third, fifth, sixth months date, and then you realize, it didn't work. Although the signs were there the first couple of dates, but you kept writing them off. So the goal is for you to have love on your terms. Love on your terms by you fully going through and identifying things that matter to you. And we don't tell you what the right or wrong answers are. That's not our job. That's your job. You just have to own your truths. So you can't walk around here and be the victim and cry about it or what have you. You said this is what's important to you. And did you wait for that or did you discard it because something else superficial came across the way? So I'm giving you that. And we're going to be delving more into this now, the conversation. But Kendal and I came on today because we were talking about, so what does it look like if we want to do a reality show and how to make it different? And one of the challenges that I had, and Kendal he knows the trends and what clicks. I have a challenge, Kendal, because I have been just combing through all of these reality shows and looking at them, and they are so superficial. The women are size 3'5", maybe a 7. Everybody is tiny in a certain look, and yet the average American is not really that size, right?
You're absolutely
and
right.
So I was saying to Kendal that I wanted to have a more realistic kind of show where there were women who were larger than 7, respectively, that women who were able to come on, and as you said, Kendal, that there are beautiful women who are size 10, 12, and 14 that have wonderful personalities. And yet the challenge becomes, because of what's out there, would we really have a successful show if we brought in all folk, right, that had all the things we want? Because I don't think it's just the size. I do think that it's personality.
Yeah.
I do think it's intelligent. I do think it's how you carry yourself. I think it's more than size, but America, the media has made it to be about size. When you look at everything, Love is Blind, Love Island, Too Hot to Handle. Y'all can tell I've been looking at all of this stuff. Single Inferno. I've even been into the Korean ones, okay?
Yeah.
I have been in them. There's no regular, beautiful, and not even the men, not even a male who may not be a six-pack.
Yeah.
Right? So how do we begin the conversation and pull in a viewership to find excitement that there's opportunity out there for a whole lot more people than the myopic number that we see on these shows?
Well, that was definitely a lot to digest, you guys. No, I'm joking. So I hope you guys did follow that very closely. So first and foremost, I want you guys to comment and let us know, would you watch a show that had average-looking people on it? For me, like one thing that me and Angela were discussing off camera was people watch TV because they want to be immersed in a world that they want to be, or they want to look at people that they idolize. Sometimes I feel like people don't want to look at people who are exactly like themselves, but then there's also people that want to look to people who are like themselves because you can relate to those people because you look just like them. So I think it's a great idea because the average person's not walking around with a 6 or 8 pack. That's just not realistic. And the average woman's not a size 0 or size 1. That's unrealistic. So what we're trying to bring is something to the market that's innovative and fresh. And just because you are a size 8 or a size 12 does not mean you're going to get on the show. You still got to have a personality. You got to be able to have some talents. You got to be something that men would actually want to jump for, because if you don't, you're not going to make the cut. So we're going to do something that's never been done. We're going to do something that's extremely innovative. So the way that we start the conversation is we ask the questions and see what the viewers want to see, because we know what we like, but we want to bring you guys something that's going to really shape up and shift the atmosphere and do things in a different way.
One of the things that you said to me, that you said that one of the reasons why this size is on TV and that a viewer looks at it is because this is what a viewer desires to be. Yeah. Right? Mm-hmm. So you mentioned that. And then I said, and I want to get we really want to hear you guys' thoughts. I said, not every woman, based upon her bone structure and what have you, is going to be that size. So Absolutely. Even if I desire to be that size, I may not even have the body type. And so does that put me out of the game mentally and emotionally? Does that add to the mental disorders that we're having, the depression, the loneliness, the sadness, because of an unrealistic picture that is emanating across the world, and that we're saying, this is who gets the man. This is who gets the woman. You're not going to get one.
See, I think one thing that's going to be good about our show is I've looked at some studies, and it shows people who frequent a lot of reality shows and binge watch them all the time, it's normally a certain demographic and population. It's normally not people who are immersed in business or people who wouldn't, quote unquote, be successful. Obviously, there's outliers to everything, but I think what our show would bring would be a different audience. It just wouldn't be a whole bunch of young 20-year-olds that are just trying to see hot bodies, because that's really what it is. Everybody wants to see hot bodies.
And you know, there's a place for it. I've always said, even when I write my novels, I don't write boys in the hood or period pieces. There's nothing wrong with those. It's just not my trajectory. So
you value substance.
Exactly. Okay. And so same thing for our reality show. I think it's going to be immersed, but we want to have the conversation now before we launch it. We need to hear from you guys. We need to get that following, that encouragement. The app will be launched in probably the next 30 to 45 days, and we're going to just be trying some things because I think we're just different, Kendal. I think that our conversation about love, about longevity, and all those things, when I watch the show, it seems superficial. And ours is going to deal with honesty about what you want. If it is a good-looking person, what happens when that good-looking person gets sick? That good-looking person gets hurt, and they can no longer maintain that look that you're after. Is that relationship over? Is there nothing substantive that's there that will maintain that relationship? Yeah, for some people, I think so. I remember one time I was dating a girl, and she told me, you know, one thing that scares me about you, I feel like if I got in a bad car accident, you wouldn't be there for me. I'm like, dang, you think I'm that shallow? I'm like, no, that's not the only reason why I'm here, is just because of the way that you look. Obviously, you do look great, but that's not the only reason. So I feel like a real partner should be someone that's feeding your every need, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, financially, physically, metaphysically, everything. So it's like if you don't have a person that encapsulates every aspect of what that is, then you don't really have the right life partner for you. Because one thing I even talk about, and I see it with women all the time who ask me questions, is they don't know what to look for when you're looking for a good man. I don't think a lot of women even know what non-negotiables they should have on their list. So if you guys do need to know, you can reach out to myself or Angela. We'll help you create that list, because there's some things that you might be settling for that you don't need to settle for. That's good. Love it. Yeah, definitely reach out. You know, I love my Kindle, so reach out to that. So here was the one of the other caveats that you and I were discussing in reference to this was you had made mention that that the trajectory has changed. That beaches a long time ago had this look, and now they don't have that. And so that's where middle America is, right? That's where a majority, a large part of it. You said that we're looking at unrealistic body types and shapes and sizes. And so mental health is such a huge issue. It is such a huge criteria. And I was thinking that, and it's interesting to me that we focus on looks, because I used to think, and she still is, Halle Berry was gorgeous. She got cheated on every time she was with somebody, you know? So is looks and all. So what are we really positioning, right, our conversation? Because, and you see other attractive,
Beyonce
really
got
good
cheated
looking,
on.
come on.
I mean, that's an easy one, though.
Okay. Right.
I'll tell you why.
Okay, go.
So, hey, if you look at the Proverbs 31 woman, it doesn't mention looks not one time.
Not one time.
So you're a virtuous woman. You're business oriented. You bring joy. You do all these certain things. So Proverbs 31 woman actually feeds your soul. It doesn't just feed your lustful thoughts. So that's the reason why they look good on the outside. But if you're not feeding that man's soul, regardless of what you're doing, then you're not really doing it for him. Because I've had some beautiful women in my life, but they didn't do it for me. That just wasn't enough.
So I just had Leah Robinson on the podcast, and I had made a statement, and I think even in one of the things that other videos that we did, that people are in our life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime.
Yep.
And that it is important to know
Yeah.
those positions in life, right? You meet somebody and you have your conversations and you have your non-negotiables, if not, but you still know, I'm going to compartmentalize that this person is probably good for a booty call, you know, every now and then.
A man knows in 5 minutes.
That's what another guy said to me. I was with two men, and we were in the room, and they said, watch Angela. And they said, okay, she's... Because first of all, I didn't understand what they were doing. They were going, that's about 2 minutes.
Yeah.
That's about 3 minutes. And I was like, what are you guys doing? And that was what they said, that you could peep, that men can peep that out. So if you compartmentalize and go, okay, this is for a reason. And guess what? Women really can take the truth. Sometimes the truth just doesn't happen, or even if they don't want to accept it. But if you say, look, you know what? I realize that right now where we're at, we are compatible in bed and we have a few laughs. But that's all I see.
Hold on. You really think women can take the truth? I disagree. I disagree. I don't know.
I do. I think the lie is difficult. If the truth is given, she may resent it. It may make her mad, but at least she'll be able to say, I was told the truth, right? Whether I wanted to receive it or not. It's the lie that is the harmful piece, because you didn't just say it. I watched a movie. I forget the name of it, but he said, look, I'm not in, it was a movie, and it was a period piece. Yeah. London kind of thing. And his name was Laval or something like that. But he was telling her, look, I'm not interested in a relationship. And yet she kept coming over and she kept crawling in his bed, and he kept telling her, look, he was doing this, and she
So who's at the wrong? Her or him?
She is.
Okay. See, you're smart. You're a smart woman, so you understand that.
Yeah.
See, I always tell men, though, it's still in our control. Because I know men who will string women along, and they'll tell them one thing, yet they know the woman is trying to shift what they want them to do, but it's not going to happen in their eyes. So I think the man's still always accountable, but the woman's still wrong at that point. So I don't know. I think it's still on the man too.
Well, I think that I honestly feel if the man has said to her, look, I'm still seeing other women. I want to see other women. Yeah. I haven't made that independent connection with you where it's just you and I, and I'm just letting you know up front, that's where I am. It does not mean that he should not be intimate with her because she wants more. He's able to say, this is what I told you.
So,
right?
So it's okay for him to string her along.
He's not stringing her along because he told her.
Yeah, but if she knows in the back of her head, but yet she's still doing it, sometimes it's like when you're talking to a child. It's like you know that you need to protect them in a certain case because they're going to a place that has no end. And I've seen that situation, and it's always ended up bad for that person.
So what you are describing, though, when you say he's stringing her along, it may be the gentleman thing, like your caliber, that says, you know what?
True.
I know
I'm gonna say
you have a right. You know, I can be this way with you. I can be this, but I know you want more. And so in deference to you, because I care about you and your feelings, I'm going to cut this off. Yep. That's a whole different, right?
I definitely had to cut a few things off.
Yeah, that's a whole different outliner. So non-negotiable is something that I have been saying for years. Every time I was in front of a women group, and I would just say, what's your non-negotiable? What are your non-negotiables? And it's like you said, people had no idea. We just did a thing on love languages, right? And I said, you don't really know what your love language is until somebody speaks on it and spells it out, right?
Absolutely.
Because I didn't know that my love language was service. And until it was defined to me what that meant. So when we talk about the coming together and what's going to make non-negotiable, the reality show, different, what comes to mind for me, and please, add on to this, is that we're saying that we want a questionnaire to be asked, right?
Yep.
And that we want people to be able to identify what their non-negotiables are, what they believe is important to them in a relationship. You can still have looks and you can still have that. And then you have the other things, right? And at the end of the day, it's like you said, Proverbs 31 did not have looks in it.
Yep.
Okay. When Abraham sent Eleazar to go find a wife for Isaac, he never said looks. He wanted an active faith. He wanted somebody who would follow him. He never said bring back the fine, drop dead to die for individual, right? Looks were never a part of it.
Yeah.
We've become so superficial in this society that we have made looks the major thing. So what's going to make us different? And I believe the difference is that we are asking beyond the looks. We are asking that we're not going to leave America or the world with this concept or thought process that it's sufficient to just look good.
Yeah.
That you can come on here and look good, but you got to bring it. We want middle America we want the regular folk to come in. Maybe some of the guys are not 6-pack. Maybe some of the women, are not the size 0 or 3, but that we're bringing in people who represent a plethora of people who want love, who have a lot to give, who have a lot to be considered, and we're going to challenge them and try to partner up people who have the same beliefs. At least put them into the same negotiables, non-negotiables,
sure.
right? And then in the end, we're going to see who you chose.
Yeah, and we're going to see if it's true.
Yeah, come on. We're going to see your truth.
And don't be lying.
Come on.
Come the right way and come correct, because like we said, we want people that represent all of you guys sitting at your house. So we want you guys to be able to look at people on the screen and be like, if they can find love, so can I. Because I think, like you said before, mental health, depression, people feeling like there's nobody out there for them. There is somebody out there for you. But what are you doing to go and attract that person? Just because you might be overweight, that might not be the reason why you might not be finding a partner. Do you have a great smile? Do you have a great personality? You might be mean. You might not be finding a man because you might be mean. So it could be something beyond. There's so many layers to a relationship that is only one piece. Because realistically, you can always chop the weight down. If you got a partner, you guys can work out together. You guys, whatever y'all want to do, that's up to y'all. So
favorite scene in Why Did I Get Married? Love that. The sheriff took her, started walking with her, and helped her find herself. Now, we're not necessarily talking about a show that's going to help you find yourself. We're looking for people who already have found themselves and to talk about how they found themselves, maybe in some of the bios, in some of the conversations, because the reality is, if you don't like hanging out with yourself, why should anybody else like hanging out with yourself? If you don't have love for yourself, why would somebody else love you? What's that driving force? And there's attraction, right? There's laws of attraction.
You guys got to be equally yoked in all aspects.
100%.
Not just spiritually, in all aspects.
Right. And we're just telling you, Kendal and I are Christians. We are, and I know a lot of the people that we'll be dealing with we're not coming to you all telling you that from a biblical perspective, this is what you need to do. There may be side conversations. You may learn that through even just dealing with us, but that's not what this is about. If you are not a Christian, then cool. That's not a non-negotiable for you. We talk about being evenly yoked. That's a biblical thought, although if you take the biblical thought out of it, it is still a valid principle.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whether you are a religious person or not, you need to be with somebody that you're in agreement. This whole thing about opposites attract, they may attract, but they generally don't last.
One last good point before we wrap up here is, I think people are always looking for like-minded individuals and people that are exactly like them. Sometimes you need somebody that complements you. So if that person is the outgoing person and you're not outgoing, but you aspire to be outgoing, that might be a great partner for you. Because two outgoing people, y'all might be outside of the house and y'all might not love each other the right way. So sometimes you need somebody that complements you rather than does the exact same thing that you do. It'll switch up your whole dynamic and it'll actually pull you and draw you to be more. Like me, I wasn't the most empathetic person all the time. So I like dealing with sensitive women, and that pull a lot out of me so I can be more sensitive. I'm like, okay, I like this. I don't want to deal with a girl that's brash, straight to the point, assertive. I'm not dealing with y'all. I already dealt with a few of y'all. Nah. So it's different.
100%. And I love what Kendal said. This is not saying that 100% like-minded works. probably really doesn't. You know, there's got to be some balance in that. There's got to be, you know, I like to cook, he doesn't, you know, whatever some of those things are. We got to be careful on that. So we're not implying that in order to find love on your terms, that you've got to find a copy of yourself, because I'm not quite sure I want a copy of me. You know, there's got to be something.
You don't want to mail Angela?
You know, there's some elements of me I would love to have, but overall, I'm looking for that man to be the protector. I'm looking for that man to be that provider. I'm looking for that man to be, for me as a Christian perspective, to be able to lead me in Bible study, to be that example for those around and stuff, and that we're evenly yoked from that way. But I'm looking for him to be all that he can be within who he is, but our basic value system.
Yeah.
The basic things that is the glue that keeps us together, that we actually can come to an agreement on those things.
Those are some powerful tools. And hopefully you guys had your pen and your paper out and you guys took some notes, because everything that we discussed today will truly change your life already. So keep a lookout for the app. Keep a lookout for our videos, for our content, and we'll let you know when the casting comes out for this show. We're looking for people just like you watching this video. We want you to find love. We want you to be successful. So be great and don't settle on your non-negotiables.
Non-negotiables. Love on your terms.
All right, y'all.